welcome to Kingdom Talks. It's your boy 3-2, and I got my lovely wifey, so nicey, got us here twice. Nah, but for real though, got my lovely wife. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Imani, or Mommy, whichever one works.
You see, when you got a host that don't care what she called, you know it's gonna be a good show. No, but so we are bringing you our new installment podcast, talk show, series, however you want to label it. But it'll be us talking to you in different formats, us talking to you about different things. We're gonna break it down from marriage to parenting, family, and friends. And we're just gonna be talking from our perspective, our experiences. We're gonna have friends on, we're gonna have family on to kind of get their perspective and their experiences. But again, this is just to start conversations that you may or may not be having, enhance conversations that you may or may not be having, and begin helping you think about conversations that you may or may not be having. So without further ado, what we're gonna do is we're gonna introduce ourselves in this episode so you guys can kind of understand where we're coming from, who we are, and what we stand for. So, babe, you wanna kind of give them a quick little overview of like early childhood, you know, where you born, where you raised?
Okay, please excuse how I look. I was supposed to do my hair last night and I didn't have
look
a chance
cool.
to, so excuse me. But I'm Imani. I was born and raised in Belleville, Illinois. Really small city. A lot of people don't know where that is. So when I went to college, I just said St. Louis because that's what people really know. Even though I am closer to East St. Louis. My mom is from East St. Louis. My dad is from St. Louis. They met and, had me, ta-da. I'm the youngest of 4 girls on my mom's side. I guess I'm considered the middle child on my dad's side. I have an older brother, older sister, then it's me, then I have a little brother. Just growing up, I was just always doing something, not bad per se, but just always into things. I've always been into music. My family has always said that even like as young as like 2 and 3, like I would always, know the words to songs and stuff like that. I used to love Butterfly by Michael Jackson. They said that was my jam. I really don't remember that. I remember growing up. I love school. I love to be around my family. I just kind of was a simple kid. I really wanted to be in the band. I wanted to play the flute so bad when I got to like 5th grade, 6th grade. That didn't really work out. So I don't know, maybe as an adult I'll try to, learn an instrument or something like that. That may be my next little venture. Elementary was easy for me. I flew through elementary school, was always honor roll, AB, that was cool. By the time we got to middle school, it was, typical trying to figure out, who you are, trying to figure out, if you want to be with the popular kids or, if you're going to be considered the nerd or you're going to be considered the outcast. So middle school, I would say that's where things kind of got like blurry for me. Very much so. Now that I'm older, I can say it, very much so a follower by the time middle school came. Just because I saw the other end of not being with popular people, and I was already myself, doubting and questioning, who I was and, if I was smart enough and things like that. So it just seemed easier to be with that crew. By the time high school came, I would say maybe up to like junior year, it was kind of the same thing, I had went to school, with certain people for a long time. It just became familiar and I didn't want anything different. So I was comfortable where I was. I was comfortable with, the way things were going. I was comfortable being in the background. I didn't feel like I needed to, per se, put myself out there because I was scared of the reaction that I would get. And when I would put myself out there, the reaction that I would get wasn't what I expected. It wasn't what I wanted, so I was always let down, and that in turn made me feel safer to play the background and just be the friend of the friend, per se. But by the time senior year came, I don't know, I was just over it. I was just over, trying to be what everybody else wanted me to be, thinking like other people. I was just like, I know I'm about to go off to college. Like, I know I'm about to be on my own. I'm about to, start this new chapter. So that definitely changed something in me. Also, I would say my family relationships throughout high school definitely changed. Some for the worse, some for the better. Me and my dad have always had a very rocky relationship, I would say. Not saying that it was all bad, not saying that, he was just, absent in my life and things of that nature. But we did have some ups and downs, and I don't know, senior year, it just kind of woke something up in me, and I was just like, I want different for our relationship. I want us to be better, and we had a conversation, and from there, I think we started to build towards something that we have today that I don't think if we didn't go through the ups and downs that we would have today. So in hindsight, I'm very grateful that we had our challenges, because I think that in the end, like, it made us stronger. Like, now, like, that's my dog. Like, I can call my daddy about anything, and he'll just tell me, like, hey, you overreacting, like, suck it up, or, no, like, your feelings are valid, or, we could just call each other on the phone and just laugh and crack jokes and stuff. So yeah, that was something that was very big for me. Then college rolled around, and yeah.
So I feel like she said a whole lot of truths, right? She was capping in the beginning. So I done heard the family stories about when she grew up. She said she was always into stuff, but she wasn't like bad. But I don't know, y'all. I'll let y'all be the judge. I ain't gonna be judged, because we got this thing where friends don't judge, right?
I wasn't bad. I was
if you're in a restaurant and you're dancing on top of tables.
I was creative as a kid. That's creativity.
Dancing on top of tables at the restaurant.
Creativity.
Okay.
I had to show my moves.
Friends don't judge.
I've always been a dancer. I've always been a performer. Like, I told y'all, when I was young, like, my parents got me into stuff. I was doing tap, ballet. I was doing hip hop, contemporary. Like, I was into stuff. Y'all, they got me into stuff early because that's just what I like to do. And like, even now, like, I love musicals and stuff. Like, I got a whole YouTube, playlist dedicated to dances and stuff. Like, I will learn them and all. Like, so that's not bad, y'all.
She don't want to see me on no dance floor.
I was creative.
Anyways, but I could relate to a lot of like what she said, and I think that kind of like drew us together in a sense. I don't think we knew it up front, but as we started learning each other, we started realizing like this person is very similar to me in a lot of ways, in a scary kind of way, But my parents were both born and raised in St. Louis. They're 8 days apart, August 18th and August 26th. It's kind of crazy. One's a Virgo, my mom, my dad's a Leo. I was born and raised in St. Louis as well. And kind of similar to her, I was into a lot of things growing up, mostly sports. I started out, I think, in like maybe 7, playing football. I quit my first year playing football, and then I went and started playing baseball, and then I went back to football, and I kind of never left after that. But from school, like she said, I was honor roll every year all the way through 5th grade, and then like you said, you start kind of finding yourself in middle school. But I think for me, like, I had a different childhood. My kindergarten through 5th grade was slightly different just because of my life experience. I was exposed to, on the PG side, I was exposed to adult activities early on. For the non-PG side, you know, I was introduced to sex early on as a kid, as early as before kindergarten. And when I got to kindergarten, it was like almost a Monday through Friday type of deal. So when I was going through school and I'm on honor roll, you know, part of my distraction was blending in with the cool kids. But I enjoyed entertaining females. I enjoyed, you know what I'm saying, being that guy. I enjoyed being the John Tucker. I enjoyed being the playboy, you know what I'm saying? I like those. I liked it being that. I liked it having a lot of girls, you know, be attracted to me and want me. And I think it was, you know, derived from my early on experience. So by the time I got to middle school and girls, you know what I'm saying, I'm no longer, you know what I'm saying, dealing with, you know, just little kids. Like, you know, these are teenagers now, preteens, and they're hitting puberty and all of this stuff. So they're starting to develop. So it's like my mind just went far off the deep end in distractions with females. And my whole thing was I already knew how to be popular, you know what I'm saying? It was playing sports, it was, you know what I'm saying, putting myself in alignment with the right people. It was, you know, the way that I dress and things of that nature. So I knew how to be popular. I didn't know how to be myself necessarily. So I got lost in really just chasing females, you know what I'm saying? So my grades started to take a dip, you know what I'm saying? My moral compass started taking a dip. My integrity started taking a dip. Like, a lot of things started to decline for me in middle school, but let my middle school self tell it I was having the time of my life. I was having the time of my life, man. I was having so much fun, man. Doing stuff that could literally have put me on a path that could have ruined my life. You know what I'm saying? I've done a couple things in middle school where I know I could have got expelled. You know what I'm saying? Had I got caught, I would have been expelled. Had I not had some of the relationships that I had with the teachers and the principals and security guards, I could have really been down a different path. So it's like middle school, McKinley in particular, you know what I'm saying, it was a steep decline for me, but in hindsight, like she said, when you're able to look back on things, that was, you know, a place where God really, he had me protected, because I could really, things could have really went left for me. Had I not been in that environment, you know, who knows what would have happened, how things could have turned out. Getting over to high school, you know what I'm saying, again, God blessing me and understanding that I needed a change and I wasn't going to change without being forced. So he put me into an all-boys school. I got accepted. It was crazy. I wasn't even supposed to be. I never even heard about the school, but because I was playing football, my best friend played for the rivalry team. We played each other in the Super Bowl, 14 unlimited year, and they ended up winning. But his coach invited me to go to SLU with, you know what I'm saying, a bunch of his teammates. I was the only one to get in, you know what I'm saying. The one person who wasn't supposed to be there, I was the only one to get in. And that truly changed my trajectory. Being at SLU, you know what I'm saying, all boys, I had to focus, no girls, no distractions. The school work was so hard that, you know what I'm saying, you couldn't really BS it, you know what I'm saying. I couldn't do my loafing, my procrastinating, my last minute and think I was getting A's. Like, no. First day of school, we had 2 hours of homework. Like, first day of school. Like, you know, like, first day of school, you get the syllabus and they tell you, all right, we'll see you tomorrow. No. We had homework coming in from the summer. We had to read 2 books over the summer. You couldn't even enjoy your full summer. Like, it was rigorous, it was different, so it put me in a different mindset. Did I immediately change? No. Freshman and sophomore year, I'm still playing. I'm still depending on football to be like my soul, you know what I'm saying, escape. It's getting me the girls that's going to the all-girls schools, getting me the girls at the public schools. So I'm the man, you know what I'm saying? I'm enjoying being a man. I ain't really got to apply myself in no classroom until I was junior year, you know what I'm saying, facing getting kicked out of school because I had an F and 2 D's. I was already on academic probation. They finna ship me on up out of there. I had to get my stuff in order. And that was kind of my changing point for me. That's when things kind of hit me. It was like, you know, this persona, this bad boy image, this jock, you know what I'm saying, personality is not going to get you where you want to go to, bro. You know what I'm saying? You wasting a lot of your gifts and your talent. So I locked in, you know what I'm saying, second semester junior year, you know what I'm saying, I'm talking about through the hairs of my mama's teeth, you feel me? I barely got back through second semester, you know what I'm saying? I ended up finished with 2 D's and a C. So, you know what I'm saying, I turned that F into a D. One of the D's stayed a high D because it was English, and our English, the next grade is a 92.3. So 71 is still a D in English at SLU. A 72 is still a D in English at SLU. And on my final, I got a 72. I was so hurt. Anyways, but yeah, so I locked in. I got into this internship program. I signed up for this accounting program for minorities, and I ended up meeting, you know what I'm saying, some integral figures in my SLU journey, you know what I'm saying, who still play a part in my life today. And they pretty much helped me get into college, helped me, you know what I'm saying, get my vision for my life in order and on track. And then from there, you know what I'm saying, it was just kind of me making the decisions, you know, as far as family goes. I'm a mama's boy. Today I died, you know what I'm saying. Me and my dad, we super tight now. Kind of like, you know what I'm saying, what wifey said, you know, it was kind of rocky in the beginning, mostly because I was hard-headed and wanted my way, and he a Leo, so it's his way or the highway. So, and I'm his first child, so him not having his dad, you know what I'm saying, be active and present in his life growing up, it played a part. He was literally learning on the fly how to be a man and prepare me to be a man in this world that we live in. And that's difficult. Now that I'm a parent, you know what I'm saying, looking back in hindsight, it's difficult. You don't know. There is no rule book. There's no playbook. So we clashed a lot because I didn't understand why he was so hard on me all the time. I didn't understand why he chose to punish me and why he chose the consequences he chose for me when he did, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember one time he put me out the house with 3 chocolate chip chewy cookies. Like, I'm traumatized to this day. I never let it go, like, dead serious. But like 3 chocolate chip Silverwood chewy cookies, the red pack. Y'all know exactly which ones I'm talking about, bro. Like, they ain't laughing because I talk about this all the time. But like, we literally crashed it a lot, you know what I'm saying, growing up, to the point where it's like, I think between middle school and high school, I think I got put out of this house probably like 8-9 times. You know what I'm saying? It was just, we was always constantly bumping, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to invite him to my 8th grade graduation. We ended up, you know what I'm saying, mending it out last minute. He came. I didn't want to invite him to my high school graduation because we fell out, and I got in trouble with my mom, and she forced me to give him the invitation. But I truly wanted to be there, so it worked out, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, once I graduated high school, you know what I'm saying, after, you know, inviting them to my graduation and stuff, once I got, you know what I'm saying, that whole college journey, we locked in. We got super, super cool. And like I said, there ain't nothing I can't call possible, you know what I'm saying? He always there. He always got my back, stand 10 toes with me. I was raised in a village, you know what I'm saying? So like, I'm really family oriented. And I think that's also why we gel as well, because we have that wanting to be in a village, you know what I'm saying? Wanting to build a village, wanting to love the loved ones, you know what I'm saying? Not this new age, that's my family moving and rocking and stuff. Like, that's just not how we came up, and it's evident in how we move and how we operate. But that's kind of like our upbringing in a sense. We ain't gonna go into super, super detail, because we don't want this just to be a biography. Pick up the book, you know what I'm saying? When they get drafted. But what I wanted to ask you, because you know, you kind of talked about identity, you know what I'm saying? And I think like that was one of the things that, you know, we kind of gelled on. It was one of the, like, the first things we talked about, like when we talked about like our identity and who we were and like our fears and stuff like that. He was like, I remember the first conversation we had, he was like, dude, get out of my head, like, and I was like, what you mean? He was like, cuz that's my life, like, you just like literally said and it was just kind of weird, like I was literally just speaking my experience. So like speak to like the identity portion, so like they can kind of see like the human side of us. Because yeah, we're doing the podcast, and it's very easy to see two people behind the camera, and you know what I'm saying, you see our love and you see like our relationship, and you can go, oh, it must be perfect, oh, it must be cotton candy, peaches and roses. But it's like we go through things just like y'all, we doubt ourselves just like y'all, we have struggle, we struggle with our identity just like y'all, we struggle with our confidence just like y'all. You know what I'm saying? So we're regular people, we're ordinary people, and matter of fact, we might be more messed up than y'all are. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna keep it a bean with you, really keep it a bean with you. But we want y'all to be able to see that, you know what I'm saying, their authenticity and their rawness, you know what I'm saying, so y'all can understand that we are people. But when we're giving y'all these conversations, I can see where it's coming from. It's not just coming from, oh, they just had an idea and decided to turn on camera. No, this is real life experience that we've lived through, gone through, and are learning and have learned through, you know what I'm saying, because there's some things we haven't learned completely. It's things that I'm still learning to master. It's things I'm still learning to do. And vice versa with her, you know what I'm saying? The same word. So this kind of speaks to the identity, you know what I'm saying? Give them, you know what I'm saying, them shoes. Now they know their background. Who are you?
I'm still figuring that out. There have been a lot of things that have transpired, I would say, over the course of 2 years now.
Okay, wait, I'm sorry, because you gave me, I'm sorry. Let me ask a better question. Okay. So who are you based on the timeline that you already given? So you're in college now. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So who are you, what are you experiencing now that you've gotten away from, I'm tired, you know what I'm saying, you got to this position, I'm tired of trying to be like everybody, fit and all this stuff. What does college look like? How does that transpire? How does that manifest? What does that look like?
That manifests into complete chaos. Now that I'm in college, now that I feel like I'm tired of following other people's paths, I'm tired of living for other people, and I want to do it for myself. Complete and utter chaos when I got to college, simply because I still didn't know who I was or what I wanted, and I was very naive. I grew up, compared to my siblings, I grew up very sheltered. I grew up very spoiled. I'm the youngest, things were a lot better for my parents by the time I came along, so I was able to get a little more. I was able to, do different things that my siblings weren't allowed to do or didn't necessarily think that they could, I'm assuming. So yeah, in a sense, like, I was very, very sheltered. Like, typical, like, you go to your family house, somebody may get into an argument over spades, or, somebody tripping because, somebody parked in the neighbor driveway, and it's things like that, I saw. But when I got to college, I went to Bradley in Peoria. A lot of people from Chicago. It may have been a few people. There were very few, like, oh, I'm from New York, oh, I'm from Mississippi, oh, I'm from, but everybody, Bradley. I did not know what a PWI was. I wanted to go to HBCU. I got accepted to Spelman, I got accepted to Clark Atlanta, I got accepted to Jackson State, I got accepted to Tennessee State. Like, I was trying to, like, get up out of there, and my people was like, no, you can't go that far. If something happens, we need to be able to get to you, or you need to be able to get back home quickly. And I'm like, y'all suck. So when Bradley offered me, they accepted me, and they offered me financial aid. It was like, oh yeah, that's the go. 2 hours away, we're gonna go visit. And I was just like, yeah, let's do it. Like, at that point, I was just over the whole college, like, trying to figure out where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. So I was like, yeah, that's fine. Got to Bradley and lost my mind, literally. Like, freshman year, I was like, I don't have to go to class if I don't want to go to class. Like, professors aren't gonna check in on you. They're not gonna be like, oh, I saw you on my roster and you didn't come to the first day, you don't have the syllabus. Like, that's not what it is. When you get to college, at that point, you're making the decision. Like, you pick and choose if you want to go to class. You pick and choose, you know, how you want to present yourself. You pick and choose if your education is important. Like, nobody's going to do it for you. And to not have to worry about anybody standing over my shoulder, like, it's 7 o'clock, get up. It's 7:15, get up. If I come back here one more time, you still laying down, it's going to be a problem. Like, I didn't have to worry about that. So it was just like, I could do what I want to do. And because I felt like I was tired of living a life for other people, I was like, well, I don't want to do anything. I just want to be. And that for me was just, it wasn't the best thing. To be honest, I don't really think I wanted to go to college to begin with. I just think because it was a lot of pressure on me, being the youngest, and you know, from other situations, I felt like I had to. But I didn't know what I wanted to go to college for. I went in as a criminal justice major, changed my major I don't know how many times. If I promise you, if I could call Bradley's admission and ask them the colleges that I went through every single college. I went through every single major except for like engineering. But everything else within the majors, I've seen everyone with the major switch form. Like, oh, I want to do criminal justice. Maybe I want to do teaching. Maybe let's try nursing. Maybe let's try music. Maybe let's try social work. Like, when I say I bounced around because I just did not know. And then
taste of Chicago.
Like, that in turn, like, because I was meeting so many different people, changing majors and classes and buildings and stuff like that, like, I feel like I got to experience a lot of people, but it was in a negative way. I dipped back into that, finding the popular freshmen, finding the ones that the upperclassmen were, you know, like, navigating to and gravitating towards. I found myself doing that again, where it was like, it was a big group of us, but there were like the main people of this big group. And I was a friend of a friend. Like, I was cool playing the background again. Like, I wasn't, you know, trying to be out there. Plus, by that time I was very sneaky because I started to get promiscuous. So I was like, you know, like, I'm gonna kick it with y'all, but I gotta go back to the dorm room. You know, like, I'm trying to text this person, I'm trying to call this person. And like, when I say promiscuous, I wasn't active, I wasn't sexually active, but it was just more so of the messaging and talking, and I guess kind of like building up that feeling. But I was still a virgin once I got to college. I did lose it in college, but I was the youngest, so I was 17 and I had just turned 17. Like, I had just turned 17, so I was the youngest. Everybody else was 18 or 19, about to turn 20. So, you know, they able to do stuff I'm not. They able to, you know, get into certain parties, and I'm just standing out there like, I'm only 17 or not even 18 yet. So yeah, college was, yeah. I want to say I found myself in college, but I don't. I feel like I lost myself even more in college. I feel like that just really like turned me upside down because I didn't know, and I wasn't trying to figure it out. I wasn't trying to find it out. I feel like I was just there taking up space. Like, I was just there in a dorm or there in an apartment. Like, it was almost like an extended stay vacation. Like, looking back at it, like, because I did not like I didn't do anything. I didn't do any work because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I'm taking these classes, and I don't want to be in these classes because I don't understand. But that's because the major that I'm picking, I don't even like it. I don't even want it. I don't even know what I could do. Like, I would go back to my room and Google, like, what can you do with this degree? Like, I never knew what I really wanted to do. So college was really hell on wheels, to be honest. Like, it was hell on wheels. It was a mess.
I got a complex question, but first, I'm gonna speak to what you said. I think like my admissions process is a little bit different because I was, focused on sports. So like I was going in, early. I had to do the ACT and do all that stuff. So, we can do signing day and I think January, February, whatever it is. So, I did, I was pretty much done with everything junior year. Like I took my ACT, I got my 26. I was pretty much like satisfied.
26.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't.
Science was my worst one, of course. Y'all know, like, I hated science. But English and math killed those. Writing killed that. Anyways, so yeah, I was pretty much done like my junior year, like with like the admissions process. It was more so just like sending out my tape to the schools. You know what I'm saying? Getting ready for my senior year tape and stuff like that. So like that part of me, like, was just more so focusing on getting the football stuff in so we can get it out to the colleges so we can, get these, final offers, locked in or whatever. I didn't get any big D1 offers. The D2 schools that did, show interest in me, they were only going to give me a partial scholarship, and my people we just didn't have it financially to where, we can afford, a partial scholarship and, pay out the rest or, get it through loans or whatever like that. So we ended up the best financial package that we got was actually from a D3 school, Milliken. And honestly, like they admissions and scholarship people, like they really worked with my old dude when we went up there. The campus felt like home, and it was a small town in Decatur. It really reminded me of East St. Louis, like if I'm being real. But it felt close to home, like it had that home feel, like it was chill. But I knew like alright, it can get busy down here if it need to get busy, but I know how to handle myself, so I'm straight. For me, my junior year kind of set me up for my freshman year in college, my junior year in high school, because I was on the verge of getting kicked out, junior year, and I had to make that decision on whether or not school was going to be important for me, whether or not, what I was going to do with my life. That really helped me because, then I met, like I said, those influential people, and they poured into me, and literally the CFO of SLU, that's who I started interning with in the summers. He literally had my 12-year plan mapped out, like me graduating college with an accounting degree in 5 years, me doing my 3 years public accounting, me doing 4 to 5 years in private sector, and then taking over his role. Like literally, like he had my whole life planned out based on that, and it gave me something to shoot for because in my family I had never seen it. Like nobody worked in corporate for it, nobody worked in a top tier, like making a salary, like my grandma, like she had like, a very decent job, but like that was it, like, besides my uncle and them, like that was my rich uncle, so his life seemed like something that was just apart from the rest of the family. So like I didn't think or ever see myself making well-off money without going pro, without becoming a rapper, without being some type of famous person. So when he instilled like, oh, you can do this accounting thing and make multiple six figures. Word? Hold on. Like for real? Straight up? And all I'm doing is numbers? I'm good at math, right? But did I mention I like numbers? Okay, hold on. Sign me up. So like I went into college, especially like finishing off my senior year. I went into college with this newfound sense of self because I was no longer pretending that I needed football to do everything. I was no longer dependent and super structured on my life has to revolve around the NFL. That wasn't my plan A no more. My plan A was accounting. Plan B was, all right, if I make it in football, I make it, but I'm going to use football to take me through the doors of accounting. I'm going to use this football thing to give me this scholarship, to give me the financial aid, to get the packages going, so I can get this degree. So that became my newfound. So I had, I had a renewed sense of self-esteem. I had a renewed identity going into college. But like you said, it is hell on wheels. Things happen really fast, and things can go left really, really fast. For me, it wasn't necessarily like your situation. Like I came in, you know what I'm saying, the football team arrived like 2 weeks earlier than, you know what I'm saying, when school let in, so we can get, you know, practices started and all that good stuff, get familiarized, all that, well, you know. So like, you know, I got familiar with the campus, and, you know, us being like, we wasn't like, our football team wasn't like known or anything. Like, we was trash. Like I think the year before, like, they went like 2-8, you know what I'm saying? So like my freshman year, like we coming off of like 2-8 season or whatever. I think we ended up winning like 1 or 2 games more that year. But like it wasn't like, you know, we were like the big dogs on campus and nothing like that. But we got a little notoriety being on the football team. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a lot of black kids. You know what I'm saying? It was a PWI like her situation. It was a lot of Chicago, but we had a lot of Indiana people too, because it was like right there. So it was like Indiana. Yeah, we had Indiana, Naptown, we had Chi-Town, and then we had like specks of St. Louis, like just little bitty specks of St. Louis. But yeah, so like that was the dynamic. So, you know, you learn a lot of lingo, you know what I'm saying, on the guys, on the folk, like you get a lot of that lingo, you know what I'm saying. Trying to think of my Naptown, man. Shout out to the Naptown crew that was down there in Milliken. But yeah, man. So, you know, like I'm in there, and at this point in time, I was always in the spotlight. You know what I'm saying? You know, kindergarten through, you know, middle school, I was always trying to be that guy. So now, you know what I'm saying, in her sense, like I'm trying to be that friend of a friend in the sense I want to play the background. You know what I'm saying? I just want to chill, be ducked out. I don't really want to party like that because I've done that. You know what I'm saying? I'm really trying to change. Now, see, what I will say is, looking back in hindsight, I want to get your hindsight point of view too. Mm-hmm. Looking back in hindsight, I think like college was the first time I realized, like, really, really that when you really want to make a change for good, that's when all the bad things come around to really test your commitment to that change. So like, I killed freshman year in college. I think I had like a 3.6. It was a breeze, big fella. You feel me? It was a breeze, big fella. It was more so second semester though, you know what I'm saying? So I'm doing my third thizzle. College is cool, classes is cool, I'm meeting cool people, you know what I'm saying? I had an on and off girlfriend in high school. You know what I'm saying, made it to the next level with me. We were still dating while I was in college. She was a senior in high school my freshman year. And I go back spring break, and we having our fun, doing what we do. And we end up breaking up like a week or two after I get back from spring break. And like a week later, you know what I'm saying, I find out she's pregnant. And so then my world just kind of got flipped upside down, you know what I'm saying? Like when she started switching majors and started meeting all the new people, and she started getting back into the who's of the world. Yeah, that's it didn't necessarily happen like that for me, but that was kind of like my breaking moment, you know what I'm saying? Finding out I was gonna be a dad, because the part of me that was rocky with my dad instantly never wanted that for my kid. You know what I'm saying? So without thinking everything through, I made an emotional decision based on my own trauma, and I said, you know what, regardless of what we done been through, we gonna figure this out, right? I'm gonna be there, we gonna get back together, I'm gonna be a parent. And I finished off freshman year, we go back into sophomore year, and this is where pretty much the hell for me came, and it was on wheels with nitros and a turbo engine. You feel me? Like it was a Ferrari mixed with a Lamborghini mixed with a Skyrocket. Like this thing was moving. So, anyways, so it started with, you know, first I'm getting injured a lot during the season. And I'm trying to play through them, but I can't. You know what I'm saying? My body is really just like quitting on me. I bet. Then on top of that, I lose my spot to a freshman. Hurt, gut check, you know what I'm saying? So now like I got a lot on my plate. I'm starting to question my love for football altogether. And then I start slipping in my grades. I'm failing tests, homework assignments, I'm forgetting about them. Can't make them up. it's a lot coming at me, you know what I'm saying? And then all the while I'm struggling with the fact that I've never been a dad. How am I gonna be better than my dad when I've never been a dad? I know what I didn't like about him, but I mean, I've never really sat down and actually thought about what I did like. Me and him just always been at odds, so it was just easy to see the things I disliked in him. So how am I gonna become a dad? Where is this money finna come from? I done went to the store, just, you know, perusing the aisles, and baby formula is expensive. I'm making $10 an hour, and I'm working like 6 hours a week. My check say 12 hours. It's $100 on this joint. How am I gonna do all this, bro? Like I'm legit, I'm stressed, I'm panicked, I'm worried, you know what I'm saying? I'm overwhelmed with my circumstances and my situation. I can laugh about it now, but boy, I'm talking about I'm what, 20 years old. I'm literally losing it, right? So my spiral continued, you know what I'm saying? So again, I started, you know, losing my spot in football, getting hurt, grades going down, you know what I'm saying? Wow, man. Then I decided, you know what, I need to get my life under control. I gotta get something under control. Football, it was a good dream. It was cool while it lasted, but I didn't let that go, so I could focus on school. So I quit football mid-season, let it go. Thinking I'm finna just focus on school, right? And wrong answer. School is still trash. I can't study, I can't focus, I can't do nothing, bro. Like, I'm taking like 3 accounting classes. I got a C, a D, and an F. Like, it's going left with your boy, you feel me? And then my other classes that's easy, cheap, little cheap putt-putt classes that I'm supposed to just be knocking out the park, I'm struggling. Just because like I'm mentally not there, you know what I'm saying? This is where I use depression where like I started getting into a depression because for the first time, like, life wasn't easy. You know what I'm saying? SLU was a challenge, but even then, like I adjusted and it was easy. This wasn't no school stuff, you know what I'm saying? This was like life. Life just wasn't easy. Like, I got a baby on the way. I don't know where my finances is coming from. I'm getting injured. I can't do what I thought I was gonna do. Like, yeah, I know that I wasn't using football as plan A no more, but I didn't think I had to give it up sophomore year. So you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a lot of things that I'm battling and dealing with. I'm fighting, and it's just like, man, it was left, right, jab, uppercut. I can't take no more hits, bro. I just can't. I can't. So I end up I skipped through first semester sophomore year. My baby was born on the 18th of December, so it was perfect. I'm on break. I don't know what was up with Milliken that year, but we didn't go back to school until like January 20th that year. So I had like literally a whole month of my daughter. Like, I literally got to see my daughter turn 1 month, you know what I'm saying? So I was there for a full first month of my daughter being able to raise her and be there all when I get back and I'm suffering still, you know what I'm saying? Being with my daughter was the only peace I had during that time. When I got back to school, I was back to instantly suffering. You know what I'm saying? I need to get my grades up, but it just ain't looking hopeful, gang. It just ain't looking hopeful. So I get through second semester. I end up with no F's. I got one D. It was in tax. I barely slide by an accounting 2 with a C. And the rest of my classes was like C pluses and stuff like that. Like, I ain't had no B's. I know that. I know I ain't had no B's. But yeah, so I go back home, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, okay, that chapter behind me, I'm finna go to the Army Reserve and National Guard, and I'm gonna start my chapter that way. So that's why I said, like, for me, my identity was different because I was finding myself. But then life kind of blindsided me. It gave me a new role, and the adjustment process was it took a little while, you know what I'm saying? So I ended up leaving college 2017, my sophomore year, after my sophomore year. So I completed sophomore year, and I left. And the plan was to go to National Guard, and I think, like, at that point in time, I would say I was completely lost. I was making decisions on impulse. I was making decisions on emotion, and it ended up costing me a lot of time, a lot of stress, a lot of grief, a lot of sadness, a lot of pain, a lot of confidence, self-worth, self-esteem, you name it. Like, it cost me a lot. I gave up school where, even though, like, you know, sophomore year was what it was because of what happened, but freshman year, my advisor literally had the next 4 years planned out for me. You know what I'm saying? She had my intern. She knew which internship she was gonna put in front of me. She knew what grade I was gonna need to get the internship. She was gonna help me with the, paperwork and application. Like, she was on top of it, knew exactly how I was gonna get where I was gonna get. And I gave up all of that to become a dad and, to be there for, my child's mother, and that situation ended up going left. And so I started just questioning my decision making. I started questioning my ability to win. I started questioning, my worth. Like, am I even good enough to do this? Like, am I good enough to have the dream that I want? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I had lost out on being able to make, big money, and then I was gonna end up like my parents and just working jobs that just got them through. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I started really feeling the impact of my losses. And one thing led to another. Me and my child's mother was staying together. I moved out into a 1-bedroom. My mom ended up moving in with me. My little brother ended up moving in with me. So it's me, my mom, my little brother, and my daughter in a 1-bedroom. My mom and my daughter, they living in the bedroom. Me and my little brother, we sleep on the couches. And we all crammed into this, and we made it work for a year or whatever. And then we all moved into, my mom's place. And, from there, like, my mental just kept degrading. So I kind of, before I go deeper into that, I want to get your hindsight, on, like, your college experience, looking back on it. Like, what do you think played a part in, like, I know you were switching around, but, like, other than switching around, what do you think played a part into your spiraling out and ultimately you having to leave?
Well, for me, again, I never had that full confidence of who I was, or knew who I was, or what I wanted to do per se. So for me, I feel like I was already spiraling. I just didn't know it. I feel like it was concealed.
That's a dope word.
Yeah, I feel like it was concealed. I feel like it was Oh, we got y'all. Sorry.
Technical difficulties.
It's okay. We got y'all. Mr. Daddy Longleg over there.
I promise you I got up for this later, and it's really about you.
See, all he had to do was ask.
You right. That's why you get your wife.
Anywho, yeah, no, I just feel like my spiraling was concealed, and I feel like mine was slow, and I think the thing that did it for me, so freshman year I was fine, I made it through. Sophomore year, decided to pledge a sorority, and that for me was like, my sophomore year was my happy place. I had switched my major to public relations and communications. Everything was going good. Like, I wasn't failing any classes. I was doing pretty good. I ended up being on the dean's list the first semester. So I thought, okay, like maybe this college thing is for me. And while I was doing that, I was going through my process or whatever. And I think we had our neophyte presentation November 4th of 2017. That very next day, I mean, like, we came out, we did our thing, we had a party, like, my family came down, my friends, I had 3 friends from elementary school all the way up to high school. They all went to Western. And I went to Bradley, so it was like maybe like an hour drive or whatever, but they came down to support me or whatever. Like I said, we had a party, good time and everything like that. And then the next morning, I kept getting like phone calls, and I'm like, who is blowing up my phone? And my other best friend at the time, she called me. She was just in tears, and I'm like, what's wrong? Because, like, she never calls, like, she's not an emotional person at all. Like, she's the life of the party. She keeps jokes cracking and stuff. So I'm like, what's wrong? And she told me our friend, our best friend, her sister passed away in a car accident. And so that to me was just like, that was a gut punch, because before I came back to school over the summer when I was with them, me and her sister, we ended up going to a concert together, because my best friend couldn't go because she had went to she was going to Jackson State at the time. She was down there for the summer, so I had came back home and she was like, hey, you want to go to a concert? And like, that was like the one time like me and her, like, you know, we're by ourselves, bonded and stuff like that. And so it was just, that was hard, because I had never experienced like a death of a friend. So that was a little different. That was very uncomfortable for me. So that happened, and then a month later to the date. No, I'm sorry. A month and 2 days early. Yeah. I found out my cousin got killed. This was before Christmas break, so this was December 2nd. And so before Christmas break, you know, me and my friends, we were all living in an apartment at this time. Everybody on different floors, but we were like, oh, we're gonna have, you know, like a sleepover or whatever. You know, we're gonna he likes to kill bugs. We're gonna have a Christmas sleepover, you know, we're gonna have a potluck, all that stuff. And again, phone is ringing and ringing and ringing, but it's my dad. And I'm like, okay, my daddy ain't never called me. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, so immediately I knew something was wrong. I'm like, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, my daddy's not gonna call me for no reason. Pick up the phone, it's silence. And I'm like, hello? Nothing. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe he butt dialed me. So I'm getting ready to hang up the phone, and then he says my name. And I'm like, okay, his voice is a little shaky. So immediately my thought is, something happened to my little brother. Like, that's the immediate thought. So I'm like, is Makai okay? And he don't say nothing. So I'm like, hello. And then he was like, Kendrick got killed. And I was like, huh? Like, I don't think it registered in my brain. I just heard killed. And I don't remember anything after that. Let my friends tell it. Like, I was just screaming to the point where like it woke them up. But I don't remember anything after our phone conversation. I remember the next week I was back at home, and I was just over it. Everything had kind of started to like hit. So I had my best friend's sister got killed. Well, she passed away in a car accident. And then my cousin got killed. Then it was another cousin a week after that passed away from a heart attack. So this is like 3 people within a span of like a month. And I didn't know how to handle that. Like, before all these situations, like, it was always suck it up, you know, like, be tough. Like, we don't do all that emotional stuff. Like, so I never really got the chance to really express myself or show my emotions as a kid growing up, because I just felt like it made me weak. I felt like, you know, if I wanted to express it, or if I wanted to say something, like, nobody would hear me. So I just learned to kind of like bottle stuff up. But when that happened, it just was like everything. It was just like a floodgate open. Like, everything just kind of like came out. Stuff that I had been holding in since like childhood and up to elementary school and middle school and high school, and then that, everything just came to a head. And that was when I was like, yeah, like, I'm done with school. Like, I can't. Like, my mind was just all over the place. Definitely depressed. Just, it was like, that's when the spiral kind of like announced itself, I guess. Like, it was like, hey, like, I'm here, like, I've been here. And it just like, it got really bad. Like, it was dark. It was really, really dark, because I was already struggling with who I was. I was already struggling with my identity. I was already struggling with how I felt like I didn't fit in society or like fit into the world. And then to have all these people around me just like pass away. Like my cousin, like me and him were literally 2 weeks apart. Like his mama and my mama like pregnant at the same time. Like he just came 2 weeks early. But like before my little brother, like that was my brother. Like I have a cousin on my mom's side that I feel like is my brother too, because I didn't have any brothers on my mom's side. But that's who he was for me on my dad's side. And we had just talked, and you know, he was telling me how, you know, he was changing his life around, you know, he had started at work, and he was like, you know, like, I'm tired of doing the wrong thing, you know, when I know I can do better, basically. And I was like, yeah, you know, like, I'm sick of Bradley, like, I'm tired of this. And we had made a plan. It was like, okay, you know, we're gonna use our cousin address in Tennessee, because all my family is from Tennessee. It's like, yeah, we're gonna use our cousin address in Tennessee, like, we're gonna go to TSU, like, you gonna major in this, I'm majoring in this, like, you'll come over to business for this and this, where both of us can, like, we had everything planned out and mapped out. And I don't know, it felt like I was finally like getting to the place of like, oh man, like if I could do it with him, you know, like maybe, you know, like everything will work out the way I planned it. And then it was like, boom, like he just got snatched. And then it was like, what to do now? So yeah, that really messed me up. Depressed, suicidal. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to be here anymore, because I felt like, what was the point? Like the one time I feel like I got it together, the one time I feel like I'm making headway, like it just all gets thrown in my face. And now I have to start over, in a sense, where before, like, I don't even know where I started from. Like, I don't know how I got there. So to like have a clean slate, like that was scary, because I didn't know what to do before. So now I really don't know what to do. So it's just like, I think in hindsight, looking back, I do think that everything benefited me, because I was so used to stuffing down my feelings and my emotions, and you know, like how I truly felt, what I really wanted to say. I think that kind of helped put me on the path of working on that. And also too, to get into therapy. After that happened, my mama put me in therapy. She was like, yeah, no, like, where it's not an option. Like, you're gonna go. And for me, that unlocked something, because I could freely say what I wanted to say, and how I felt, without being judged or without being looked at as crazy, or without being told that, you know, like my emotions and my feelings weren't valid, in a sense. And also, it wasn't family. Like I didn't have to like tiptoe around issues. I didn't have to like, you know, not say anything for the sake of other people. Like I could just get out everything. And before that, I feel like it was a stigma, especially for my family. You know, in Black culture, what happens in this house stays in this house. You know, you don't tell anybody our business, and you know, if you go see a therapist or something, you know, then that means you crazy. You know, family member get talking about you and stuff. So it was just a lot. But I do think that started a very long and still continuing healing process. But I think that was a thing to kind of unlock that, like, it's okay to not be okay. Like, it's okay to be emotional and not feel like, you know, something's wrong or like you're crazy. Like, we have emotions and feelings for a reason. We just have to figure out how to use those to move forward. And I still kind of struggle with that a little bit. But I think from where I started to where I am now, I definitely think that I made a lot of strides. So that's my in hindsight moment.
That's so good. That's good. So I think, so you said like your journey, you know, that started like that journey that you're kind of still on. And that's really where I wanted to stop my story before I kept going. But speak to that, like from 2017, you're back home till it's 2025 now. What does that process of rebuilding yourself? Because at this point, you're a wreck, you're a mess. You know what I'm saying? If you were once a house, you're now rubble. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I felt, you know what I'm saying, coming back in 2017, like, and then breaking up, you know what I'm saying, with my child's mother. Like, I felt like a rubble. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, in the midst of us breaking up, you know what I'm saying, I lost a childhood friend as well, you know what I'm saying, in a drowning. And it was one of those things where, you know, you get to blame yourself in all different kind of ways. Like, I ended up, you know, him and his twin brother, we had a high school coach that just wasn't the greatest in a sense, you know what I'm saying? He had the legacy, the tradition, but towards the end of the years, you know what I'm saying, he lacked, you know what I'm saying? There was a lot to be wanted, you know what I'm saying? There was a lot left desired, I would say. So particularly for their recruitment process, I don't think he did enough for them, you know what I'm saying? Especially the brother that ended up passing away. Freak of nature when it comes to like being an athlete. When I say like as a wide receiver, if the ball is in the air and you gave him enough time to go get there, it's not nobody that's coming down with the ball but him when he jumped. Like it just like on every level that I've seen him play, like you wasn't jumping with him. Like I don't care who you was, like he's coming down with that ball and he gonna look at you like you crazy because what you jumped for. And I mean, like I said, just had unbelievable talent, but they ain't have no looks. You know what I'm saying? I am my freshman year. You know what I'm saying? I finally get I get a concussion my freshman year, but I end up starting. And you know what I'm saying? I got juice with the coaches now. You know what I'm saying? I'm starting. I'm doing my thing. You know what I'm saying? Looking at me like the next extension sliced cheese. And I'm like, hey, look, y'all need to look at my bros in St. Louis. Like they ain't getting no looks. Like, hey, one play defense, one play offense. They're a twin. Duo package, like come on, let's do this. Got them up there. They spent they did their overnight recruitment with me, you know what I'm saying? So I showed them around. We had us a good little time. They ended up getting in, and sophomore year, which is their freshman year, you know, that's when I start falling off the wagon. I ended up leaving the team, and I wasn't necessarily being a big brother that I needed to be to them. Wasn't checking in on them while I went, and so I didn't even know that, you know, he became academically ineligible. So when he was supposed to go back, you know what I'm saying, for the training camp, that 2 weeks before school started, he was actually here. Went out with some friends and ended up having a, you know, accident and passed away from drowning. And like you said, all of that going on, never really having a friend pass away like that close, it just hit different, you know. And you in this place where you feel like everything around you has crashed and burned and disintegrated. You know what I'm saying? What did your climb look like? You know what I'm saying? I call it the climb, you know. And it took a while and I had to go backwards first, but what did that process look like for you, you know what I'm saying? Real brief.
A lot of therapy. Got back into church, so a lot of God. And making some hard decisions, having some tough conversations, because I felt like without it, I wasn't going to be able to grow to be the person that I needed to be. So it was a lot of work, a lot of affirmations, a lot of still trying to figure it out, but also I think giving myself the space and the time to grow and change, because it's not overnight. So yeah, I was back home. I had went back and forth to school. I was back in and I was out, and I was back in and I was out until I think it was 2019, 2020. I was all right, like that's it. Like, I'm gonna just take a real break from school, and I'm gonna just work. And, you know, if it's meant for me to go back to school, you know, God will work it out. You know, he'll give me a sign, this, that, and the third. And while I was healing on one side, I was still unhealed on another side, because then at that point, I started getting into well, now that I don't have to worry about school, now let me worry about, you know, like what my future's gonna be like, you know, with the guy. And then that, so like I'm working on this, but then on this side it's like, oh, here we go. So yeah, I started getting into guys really heavily, and that was just not a good idea. That did not turn out good. And then, well, I was up on this, and I thought I was up on this, and I was down on this, and I started going back down all together, and then we had a whole nother cycle. So it was just another cycle, just a different topic, basically. So yeah, it was rough. It was rough again.
So, like, how did you, what would you say was your turning point? Like, all right, so you started getting momentum over here, and then you started focusing over here, and then, you know, as this started to slide, eventually you was back in that cycle of being down. What kind of turned it around for you? What was that switch, or that moment, or moments that kind of helped you start getting more progressively upward in momentum instead of sliding down?
I saw the people around me, and I wanted better for myself. I felt like I deserved better. I felt like I deserved more. I felt like I knew that I could have the things that I wanted. I was just going about it the wrong way. I was looking at it the wrong way. And so I just decided it was really just, it may sound cliche, but it was really just a decision to just start focusing on myself. So yeah, it was just, I don't know, when people say like something just clicked, like it was really just a moment where something just clicked, and it was like, maybe if you stop doing this, then this will happen. And so I stopped doing this, and then that happened, and I was like, oh, like it's just as easy as that. So I was like, well, let me try some other areas. And it was just like, once I stopped focusing on what I thought was the highlight of my life, or like the main prize, and really started focusing on me and what I wanted, things just started to flow. I would say 2022, like that's when 2022 was a hard transition, because I had got my little heart broken. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be like the movies. I'm gonna pack up everything and I'm gonna move. I'm gonna start all over. Took my crazy tail self right on to Texas with my sister, and was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, got there thinking that things were gonna be different, and it was worse there than when it was home, when I was back at home. And I'm like, so I was like, okay, maybe I need to give myself some time. And it was like, no. And I just kept getting this feeling that like, you need to go back home. Like, it's okay to go back home, and when you get there, focus on you, focus on what it is that you want, focus on what it is that you need. And yeah, I drove 13 hours, packed all my stuff with my sister, drove back 13 hours back home. And yeah, the end of, what was that, the middle of 2022 going into 2023, I decided to go back home, decided to go back to Bradley. So I was back in Peoria, back trying to finish my degree, back trying to work. And I was like, yeah, no, it's too much. It's too much history here in Peoria, and I can't grow in a place that broke me. I can't grow in a place that was toxic to me. So I'm going to transfer to Lindenwood in 2023, I believe. Came back home, took some time, went through the whole process and everything. My mama went to Lindenwood, that's where she graduated from, so she was really excited. So yeah, 2023, I made the decision to go to Lindenwood, and yeah, 2023, I was able to turn around. Like, stuff was getting back. I was getting back into my groove, and I was like, okay, yeah, like I like that. And then that's when he came in. And then from there, it's just been, it just took off.
I don't know about all of that, you know. I do it. That's fine.
Whatever.
But no, I think this is like, you know, kind of going back to that first conversation when we first started talking about our life and that shift that we both had. This is where it kind of like got like completely scary because it was pretty much very identical. So in 2017, we both came home. 2018 is I moved into the 1 bedroom. 2019, I'm in mom's crib. In 2018, I tried to go back to school online at St. Louis Community College. Didn't work. In 2019, I tried to go back online. Didn't work. Same college, St. Louis Community College. And then in 2020, you know, where she said she was gonna take a break, I said, you know what? Your ass gonna lock in. I mean, your butt gonna lock in because you got a legacy, you know what I'm saying, that you really chasing after, and you gonna have to do something about this. And I ended up enrolling in Colorado Tech. I feel that, you know, one of them little tell me more information things. Cause the crazy part is it was an ad on YouTube, and I just ended up clicking on the ad on some, you know what, just for giggles, you know what I'm saying, just because, let me see what it is. And the admission counselor called me and he sold me, and like I'm thinking I'm gonna go back for accounting. He was like, no, I think you should get finance because you want to teach people. And I was like, okay, bet. So let me backtrack. So 2018, I'm in my crib. 2019 is when I moved into mom's crib, but that's when I discovered ET. That was my turning moment. Like, you know what I'm saying? She said she just kind of had like that moment. I ran into ET, Eric Thomas, who is like a motivational speaker, personal development coach, however you want to look at it. But he started helping me realize that I had to start asking myself the tough questions. You know what I'm saying? Specifically, there was a video where, you know, he was like, how many of you all grew up in a household where you can afford to just BS in college? You know what I'm saying? Where you can afford to just be out partying, smoking, and drinking instead of chasing your dream. How many of y'all can say your mama is gonna be A-okay if you don't make a couple $1 million? And like, it really was the tough questions that I started to having to ask myself. You know what I'm saying? Am I a victim or am I gonna be a victor? Am I gonna let, you know what I'm saying, my circumstances beat me, or am I gonna have beast mode mentality and overcome it? Am I gonna stop trying to be 70% in, or am I gonna go all the way in 120? You know what I'm saying? So he really started introducing me to accountability, which I had never taken. I've always found excuses and ways in which I could shorthand my own accountability. So he helped me start realizing that when I became more accountable to my own life, I became more in control. And like she said, when I stopped doing this and this happened, I was like, oh, is that easy? If I just stop blaming everybody else, even if it is their fault, and I take accountability for it, and I make the change for it, I feel better. Ah, man, hold on. This is a math equation. I told you I like numbers, I like math. So my accountability plus my change equals my peace. I'm finna work this equation to the max, boy. I'm finna go crazy. And all of a sudden, like, he started giving me other life equations. You know what I'm saying? 120% plus a vision and execution equals acquired dream. Oh, okay, I can work these things now. I can get in line with these things. And then before long, he started telling me about the coaches that he set up on him. You know what I'm saying? The people who gave him wisdom. And then that led me to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That led me to Robert Kiyosaki. That led me to, you know what I'm saying, Richest Man in Babylon, Think and Grow Rich, the Feeling, The Secret. Like, it led me to a lot of other different avenues in which I started getting that momentum. And before long, it was like, okay, I'm in my mama's back room. I barely want to come out, But I started plastering the walls with note cards, with notes and different things to inspire me to further my knowledge in this new area. Then I started saying, you know what, spiritually, I've always had this disconnect. Let me go learn it for myself. I don't want to have to wait on a preacher. Let me go dive deep into spiritual history. Let me dive deep into Black history. And before long, my knowledge and my interest started to grow. It started to expand. And before long, the old me started to die away. And the new me kept growing and kept growing and kept growing. And I started finding stability in that person. I started finding confidence and value and worth in that person. And then in 2020, I moved in with my goddad. I'm in his basement. And that's where I started building. That's where I created my foundation, in that basement. I was metaphorically and physically in the basement, financially in the basement, mentally in the basement. And I had to build a foundation so that I can build a house. And from 2020 to 2022, as that was me building that house, during that time I was affirming, I was still reading, I was learning how to trade, I was investing in my own education. I'm still in school at this time. I'm almost finishing up, you know what I'm saying? I'm at that last run, you know what I'm saying? I'm in my final year. And I'm dating for value and work. I'm dating looking for validation at that point. From 2020 to 2022, I'm dating for validation. I'm dating girls so that I can see my worth, because they seem to see what I can't see in me. So I need them to keep reminding me, in a sense, so that I can finally believe it. And so that was kind of like what my dating was. And it was a mess. It was a wreck, you know what I'm saying? I met some nice women, but it was a mess, you know what I'm saying? Because my intentionality and purpose wasn't there. It didn't transpire into anything more than just two people with feelings. So fast forward, we're in 2022, and 2023 just hits, you know what I'm saying? The new year come, it's January. I start saying, you know what, I finished off, you know, a relationship with somebody who was older, and by this point in time, like her, I'm kind of over it. I'm through with people. It's time to just focus on me, because this dating thing just ain't it. You know what I'm saying? It's causing more stress than it is causing peace. And I got the equation for peace. So the relationship just ain't working. It's not. You can't add it in somehow. Like, it's just not working. Forget it. And so I start focusing on me, and I say, you know what? It's about time I start actually building up this generational wealth, actually building out the legacy that I want to pass down to my daughter. Living in the basement ain't it. I gotta, you know what I'm saying? I gotta get her to experience her first house. I gotta get my own first house. And so I started looking to move, and I moved in March. So from January to March, we got 2 months. I'm on the grind looking for a crib. I get it done, you know what I'm saying? Get a deposit, all wham, I bet. So I move in, my daughter finally got her own room. You know what I'm saying? No more basement dwelling. We got a basement now that we can go in and play in if we want to, but we got our own space. You know what I'm saying? Because when we was in the basement, it was literally just a big old opening. We had both beds in there and the rest of our living stuff. It had its own bathroom and stuff, but you know, we was literally right next door to the washing machine. So when my goddad wanted to wash, we had to hear the washing machine. You know what I'm saying? When we wanted to wash, we had to hear the washing machine. So it was one of those things. So I was very proud, you know what I'm saying, to really start chasing after my dream and actually seeing it come to fruition. And you know, I knew what I wanted as far as a female, as far as, you know, a dating, you know, a partner, a significant other. But again, the whole dating pool and scene just wasn't it. You know, females I was running to, we weren't compatible enough, or we were only compatible in the areas that wouldn't carry us into a lifetime. So I wasn't sold on them. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I want somebody that can really match and gel with me. And so I'm like, you know what, I'm, again, just focusing on me, but I'm a man, I got my urges, I got my needs. So I decided I'm gonna download the app, you know what I'm saying, be okay. And I'm on there perusing just to have fun, you know what I'm saying, not looking for anything serious, I'm just casually, you know, dating. And I swipe right on, you know, this lovely person to my left. And again, my intention isn't, you know, pure, but how everything transpired was just different. You know, I didn't instantly ask for a number like I did with everybody else. Like, I kind of kept it on the app, you know, and it was, you know, filling her out, but it was like, hold on, like, she can actually keep a conversation on the app, hold on.
First of all, the way he approached me I knew from then he was a fool. Because his message to me was, you trying to be a friend or a part of the family? I'm like, that's how you. I was like, whoa there, what are you?
To business, you feel me? I mean, like, honestly, because again, like, I'm casually dating, so I'm trying to see, like, okay, is you trying to be cool? Like, I ain't want to just ask, hey, look, you trying to be friends with benefits, or you looking for a relationship? Like, I ain't want to ask her. She got to come up with creative ways to ask it. And, you know, she said family. I'm like, okay, she cute. I ain't gonna just write her off instantly. You know I ain't necessarily looking for no family right now, but, you know, all right. So we kept everything in the inbox, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't, you know, go sexual or anything like that. Like, we legit just kind of talked and figured each other out. And then I don't know if I asked you for your number first, or you was just kind of like, hey, look, let's just text or whatever the case may be. I don't know how that happened. But we ended up, you know, finally like exchanging numbers probably like a month later. You know what I'm saying? We spent a month on the app just talking. And we finally exchanged numbers, and from there it was just like, you know, I feel like in hyper speed we hit all the stages of love. Like, we hit the cute, like, ooh, let me respect their schedule. I'm gonna, you know, text, but I ain't gonna, you know, text back twice. Or, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna, you know, bother them with, oh, you ain't texting back in a few minutes. You know what I'm saying? But we thinking about it. You know, we in our mind like, oh, I want to text her back. Like, oh, I wonder what she doing. Why she ain't texting me back? Like, dang, like she must still be in church or something. Like, man, she still in class? Like, it ain't over yet? Alright, man, I can't wait to see Carl later. Like, man. So, you know, I feel like we did all of that, the cute stuff, you know what I'm saying? The very infatuated, you know, staying on the phone all day, falling asleep on the phone, waking up on video calls and stuff like that. Like, we did all of that, and then, like, we did the super hanging out, clingy, like, you know, we only wanted to be around each other. You know what I'm saying? Hey, can I come up after class? I know you at work, but can I just be there? Hey, look, I know I gotta work, but you don't mind coming up at the class, you know what I'm saying? You free, like, just, hey, I know you gotta leave at 7, but can you give me 30 minutes? Like, I know you got something to do. Can you squeeze me in just a little bit? And then, you know what I'm saying, we got to the point where it was like, we were inseparable. It was like, okay, I gave her the key to the crib, you know what I'm saying? We moved in. No, let me go back, because when we first started talking though, like, because again, I wasn't looking for family, like, I led with, hey, look, let's not put titles on it. So, like, we doing all of this cute, lovey-dovey relationship stuff, right? But we still ain't got no title. Like, we still ain't got no title. I think we didn't get titles for, like, our birthday. So, we meet around with, like, May, maybe. You know what I'm saying? We start talking in May. April, somewhere around there, April, May.
Yeah, because you graduated in June. Yeah.
And we was already full on by then, texting and stuff. So, yeah, so June, May. So we somewhere in like April or whatever, April, May is like we talking whatever. Because we met up and stuff before I went off for my graduation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yeah, by that time, so yeah, I would say we probably start talking like end of April, early May type stuff. And no title all the way through September, but we kicking it. She coming over after class. I'm on the clock. It was title.
He just didn't know. But it was on her.
I mean, we had an understanding. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, and I legit told her, like, I wasn't entertaining nobody else. Like, it was just us. I just didn't want to complicate.
I put a title on it. I don't know what he's talking about.
And I ain't mad at that. I'm not mad at that. That was my woman. That was my woman.
In front of him, I was, this my friend. But when I was talking to mama, that's my man. Talking to my sisters, that's my man.
I mean, she definitely was bad.
That's my man.
She definitely was bad. She definitely was. I ain't gonna count. But no, we was locked in. So we finally, you know, locked the title down in September. You know what I'm saying? And that's another crazy point. So her birthday is the day after mine. So we celebrated our birthdays that year, and I took the first day. No, you took the first day because it was actually my birthday, and then I took the second day. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, by that point in time, like, I gifted her the key. She moved in. We celebrated Thanksgiving together. We got through Christmas, and then, you know, brought in the New Year. And like, by that point in time, like, you know, the whole family kind of like was rocking with her. I think like by the time she met my grandma and Thanksgiving, like I kind of knew like I really wanted to like be with this person, like I could see a future with her. You know, not just on some we could be a long-term relationship, but like, you know, I could probably wipe this one up, like, you know what I'm saying? Things keep going the way it's going. I could wipe this one up. And fast forward, you know what I'm saying? We have our first like family trip. My daughter, her, and me. We go to Wisconsin Dells that following year, and with March or April.
It was cold.
Yeah, it was a little cold, but we had fun. And then we get back from Wisconsin. You know what I'm saying? We going camping that year. We doing a lot of cool things for the first time. You know what I'm saying? And we decided we was gonna get pregnant. You know what I'm saying? And then you know that happened. And
we decided.
Well, we knew what we were doing. We did what we did to get pregnant. So yeah, we decided. Now it was she was on birth control, so it was kind of like a miracle. It was a miracle. It was a shock. You know, I'm a math guy, so 0.0001%. You know what I'm saying? So.
Hey, let me just say, I just thought it was, you know, like I'm an avid, you know, juice and soda drinker. So I was like, oh my gosh, you know, like maybe I'm drinking too much, like my back really hurts. Like he was like, hey man, like you keep complaining, you know, like you need to go get seen. Like something could be really wrong with your back. Man, that lady came in there and was like, congratulations. I said, huh? I was like, you talking to me? Like you sure? Like after that, it was literally like, wah, 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 wah. I heard nothing. Like I heard nothing. She gave me the test, and I said, well, just in case she lied, and just in case this may be somebody else, I'm gonna go to the store and get my own test, and I'm gonna pee on it so I can see it. Yeah. Ta-da!
So yeah, that happened. We found out around what?
October.
Yeah, we found out around October. So our birthday go by again. We have a good birthday. We chilling, kicking, and all that good stuff. We find out in October.
We decided to get married in September.
So we decided to get married in September, right? So we was like, look, at this point, gang, you mine, I'm yours. We ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. And if you do, like, shoot, blue, blue, somebody got to plan a funeral, right? And we both looked at it and said, you know what? That's fair. I agree. And so we was like, okay, man, let's jump the broom. So, you know, we was like, that whole, like, planning for $1 million wedding is dead. Let's go to the courthouse. We know what our love is. So we did that, right? Sexy. We'll cue some pictures because we look good. Anyways, then we did that. November come. We get married in November. We tell the parents, of course, they was all ready to beat us upside the head. We love y'all still to this day, and we gonna get y'all into the ceremony, man. We planning. We planning right now.
We actually did get beat with some Christmas paper.
Hey, we did.
We got beat up.
BF Fest. I need to holler at you.
Got beat up. But it was love. It was out of love.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I still feeling a little trauma in my left eye, you know what I'm saying? But nah, so that happened. Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, we weren't able to deliver the baby full term, stillbirth. RIP, we love our little baby boy. Little baby AJ. And that's kind of where we are today, you know, present day. That brings us all the way up to today. We're not gonna get y'all, you know what I'm saying, everything after the passing of the kid because we feel like that's a lot that we're still processing. One, two, I think this is another topic for another conversation or another conversation for another topic, however you say that, right? With that being said, we appreciate y'all for listening and we hope, you know what I'm saying, that our experiences, us giving you those details, not only, you know what I'm saying, allows you to see where we're coming from, but it gives you a little bit more depth to why we're speaking on some of the things that we will be speaking on. Because again, we experience life in so many different ways. We've experienced it in so many different seasons and so many different reasons and so many different factions, you know, from loss and gain to understanding to losing yourself to losing people to finding, you know what I'm saying, your mate to figuring out this new life and navigating new experiences with your person. And facing challenges with a partner, you know what I'm saying, married. So it's a whole lot of different aspects in which we're going to be talking to, and not just because we feel like we can, but because we feel like it's necessary. We want to help others navigate it if you're going through it, or maybe you are navigating the emotional side of it. You get to see how we navigate it emotionally. You can see how we are coming out of a season of loss again, and how we're able to sit in front of you all, laugh, and have high spirits and be moving forward even when the storm is right here. So we appreciate it. This is again the Kingdom Talks. That's my wifey. That's mine. Y'all know me. It's 3-2. We appreciate y'all, man. We'll see y'all next time.
Oh, and I want to end with this every episode. In all you're getting, get an understanding.
Sorry, I glitched, but what she said, in all you're getting, get understanding. And what that break down to for them people who ain't so smart in the head. I love y'all for real. No, but really what that is, just take another look. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes looking at it the first time, what we see, what we perceive, and what we're able to understand of a situation isn't necessarily what's happening. Just take another look. You might be able to see a detail that you didn't catch before. Maybe several details that paint a whole new picture and give you a whole new meaning to the situation. So, and all you're getting, get understanding. You feel me? I salute you, because you're a king and a queen. That's my queen.